So FSR 2 has um, caused a bit of an uproar in the Genshin community that people were saying that it made the game look worse. And to be honest, yeah. The reason why people were mad that it was added was not because FSR 2 was itself a problem. It was that MiHoYo decided, in their infinite wisdom, decided to, hey, let's leave FSR 2 in and remove all other anti-aliasing options, because they put FSR 2 in the anti-aliasing options. So of course, when people pixel peeked, they saw tons of artifacts and tons of stair stepping or whatever, just because FSR 2 isn't anti-aliasing. And this move was just as smart as Apple removing the battery percentage on their iPhones, which is completely and utterly brain dead. Like, thank you. You're a billion-dollar company and you can't even do like the most common sense things. But okay, FSR 2 is not that bad. Its main goal, again, is for upscaling. The reasons why you want to like upscale an image is because you're going to downscale to low resolutions to get the benefit of that low resolutions while getting the increased quality of the upscaling if you were playing at the resolution that you just lowered to. Like, for example, if I was playing the game at 720p, I'd get the performance of 720p but get image quality right around 900p, somewhere around that point. Maybe even close to 1080p, but I'll be reserved with my assumptions. But yeah, it helps for people like me who pretty much has to play the game at low resolutions, just because a graphics card can't really take it. Like, I'm running a GTX 950. I want to run the game at medium because the game looks really good at that graphics settings. But if I want to maintain medium, like medium shadows, medium visual quality, I would have to lower the resolution to 640p if I want to maintain a flat 60 FPS, because this game and its combat is very, very fast paced. If you start having frame dips and frame time inconsistencies, the game can feel quite bad and you may miss timing on your abilities and stuff. And especially if you're playing the game at a relatively high level, you need you need to see as much of the game as you can. And FSR does that. You know, it gives me the performance of 640p, but giving me around the quality of 80% resolution scale, which I was from, 70%, 60% resolution scale. It's also quite important for me because if I'm playing the game and I'm looking at, say, cutscenes, if I look at like the models in the cutscene, they would usually be incredibly low resolution with if I wasn't using FSR. But with FSR, the quality looks decent. It looks perfectly okay. That I can actually like not be focused on this Vaseline image of what the game is. And sure, there's artifacts, but like if you're playing the game at low resolutions like 640p or 60% resolution scale, you will not see those artifacts. Like, no shot you'll see those artifacts. And yeah, and I think it really goes to show that MiHoYo doesn't really care about optimization. I've played the game right around release, so since around like literally 1.0, and playing with my computer, the longer pretty much the game went on, since as more regions they added, when they added Inazuma, more parts of Liyue, the Chasm, Sumeru, etc., the game has just gotten worse and worse in performance, to the point where like stuff like lighting is very intense on my graphics card, where if there's any form of light, yes, I will have a ton of frame dips and frame rate inconsistencies, which is really annoying if I'm doing open world stuff. And instead of optimizing the game, MiHoYo decided, hey, let's not do optimization and let's just do upscaling. And while yes, this is kind of a decent thing to do, it just shows that they're kind of lazy in actually optimizing the game to make it run well. And not to mention, the game already suffers from major pop-in. If you're watching, I assume you're watching this video, if you look at the gameplay, sorry, not gameplay, if you're looking at the footage of Kaching just walking around, you can see a lot and a lot of pop-in, which is very distracting. And it's like, why is there pop-in like that, but the game runs like garbage? Like, seriously, why? And because of that, they're not optimizing the game, and the game's running really badly. And can you guess why there isn't the Switch port? Why the Switch port isn't out yet? Because they're too lazy to actually optimize the game, and they're waiting for, I assume, a Switch refresh with better hardware. Yeah, with better hardware in general. Might as well wait for the Switch too, because the current Switch, no shot it'll run this game. Like, there's no way. No, it's not the graphics that's a problem for, well, actually, never mind. I take that back. It's both that's a problem for the Switch. Now, I understand this video, it was like an FSR too, but like, I don't know. Just voiceover for the video, whatever, doesn't matter. So with the CPU is something that people ignore, but it's actually very important. Everyone's hooked up on the graphics and like 4K this, 8K that. They're forgetting about the CPU. It's one of the same reasons why the PS4 and the Xbox One series kind of sucked, just because the CPU was incredibly old. They were like using a revised version of Bulldozer or something. Like, they were using a revised version of AMD's FX, I believe. They're running Jaguar or whatever, but I remember that's for the PS4. But if you saw the PS4 Pro and stuff, and the Xbox Series X, wait, sorry, not Series, and the Xbox One X could run 4K. And wait, 60 FPS? Where's the 60 FPS? And that's where the problem with CPU comes in. The CPU is so incredibly underpowered that they're literally limited by frame rate. You could push the game to like 8K hypothetically. If it could run 8K, the frame rate would still stay the same, because the CPU would not be able to render the games at, say, 60 frames a second, because you're like loading in textures, models, animations, stuff like that, everything you're seeing. And so when your CPU is bad, you get a lot of really bad frame times from like just loading in the world. And the problem is that whether you're at 720p, 1080p, or 4K or 1440p, the frame rate will remain the same if you are CPU bound, because being CPU bound is probably one of the most crippling things to ever happen to you if you're like playing with a game or like upgrading your hardware. And with the Switch, it's coincidentally, it's also using a 2014 CPU, except it's using an ARM CPU. That's literally, I believe it's the same CPU in a Galaxy S6. Yeah, it's like an ARM Cortex A53 and an A57, and it's like, now granted, yes, it is not running Android or Nvidia's Shield software, so Nintendo could like, or any of the game developers could like pretty much full pedal it, or full throttle or whatever, just make it run to its full capacity. But the CPU pretty much sucks. And so you pretty much see this with a lot of games, where if you see like stuff like Scarlet and Violet, and the game is like, the game looks like garbage, the CPU. If you look at Breath of the Wild, now granted, Breath of the Wild is a game that looks very good, it runs well, because not much is happening in the open world. There's not really like a lot of crazy things happening in the open world. It's kind of just a bunch of empty fields from last time I remember. I'm not really like dissing on the gameplay. I'm just talking about like the overall graphics. So, Jesus. But yeah, there's not really a lot of things going on. So of course it's fine, and they did run it through a lot of optimization. And yeah, the game is pretty good. Now if you look at something like Arceus, oh man, here it is. Thank you, Game Freak. And you see like the constant like frame dips and stuff, just the overall like crap the game looks. And I think that's what Game Freak is like misunderstand. Oh, actually no, they're probably trying to ease up on the CPU just by loading less by loading crap textures. So why does that tree from Sword and Shield looks like it's from the Nintendo 64? Well, because they can't load the textures. They don't have the processing room to add better textures, even if they have the RAM capacity for it. No. But yeah, a CPU bottleneck, very, very crippling for any gaming device whatsoever. Like, like, why do you think Cyberpunk ran like garbage on the PS4? The graphics could handle it, but it's the CPU that couldn't. That's why textures were like popping in. Some character models weren't even textured unless you get to like, unless you literally look them straight in the face and you can see they're like, uh, what are they called? And you literally move up to their face and you can see their like eyelashes or whatever, and then bam, they start loading in. But then like then the game struggles to load in other NPCs because of the CPU, and the CPU is literally the thing that's screwing over. Now with the PS5, they fixed that issue by giving it, better CPU architecture like Zen 2, Ryzen 3000, I believe. Yeah, I think it's Ryzen 2 3000, and yeah, uh, the game the newest consoles run a lot better, but some game devs I think are still locking it to 30 FPS. Oh my god. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Yeah, just remember, FSR2 isn't bad. It's MiHoYo removing the options for other anti-aliasing options, because FSR2 upscaling, not anti-aliasing. FSR2 is best used when you lower the resolution and upscale it, so you get the better performance while getting a better visual quality than when you lower the resolution. But it's not going to be as good as native. Keep that in mind. And yeah, it's not really bad. Very, very helpful. Freaking MiHoYo. God, I love this brain dead company. Why'd I even play this game? See y'all later. Bye.
らっしゃい。全部丸。
健康よ、世の乱れを切り尽くせ。陣営のごとく。ふわっ。
安全距離確認。
お嬢様のお。
6308ユニット。超拡散形態。手をつなぎます。
逃がさない。行け。はっ。
これこそが知恵の伝道。はっはっはっ。
無駄な時間を過ごしてると仕事が終わらないわよ。急がない。
黒き翼よ、昼夜を切り裂く。吸引テスト開始。これこそが知恵の伝道。ふふ。
逃がさない。行け。はっはっはっ。やっ。お客さんが来た。
また
6308式ユニット。7号式モジュール。全部丸見えね。知識をあなたにも。
健康よ、世の乱れを切り尽くせ。行くわよ。はっ。
夜の権限。安全距離確認。はっ。
陣営。
吸引テスト開始。へい。安全距離。私のお家にいらっしゃい。
健康よ、世の乱れを切り尽くせ。ふわっ。
無双の風。影のカラスが全部丸見え。
陣営のごとく。我が剣よ、影に従え。
ほっはっ。知識はあなたにも。王林6308。
瞬く間に。逃がさない。
6308式ユニット。これこそが知恵の伝道。手をつなぎ。
我が剣よ、影に従え。瞬く間に。ふわっ。やっ。
黒き翼よ、昼夜を。無双の風。シミュレート。全部丸見え。
健康よ、世の乱れを切り尽くせ。行け。
方策を変えましょう。知識はあなた。姿を見。安全距離。
はっ。逃がさない。ふん。やっ。行くわよ。急がないと。
吸引テスト開始。6308式ユニット。安全距離。私のお家にいらっしゃい。ふふ。
健康よ、世の乱れを切り尽くせ。陣営のごとく。はっ。 むことも大事だけど。
答えなさい。6308式ユニット吸引テスト。私のお家にいらっしゃい。